Hey there. So this book that I recorded was just released yesterday, and I'm really thrilled to present a little bit of it to you today. It's called Temple of the Battered Bones by Jackson Arthur. It's another horror anthology, and it was a lot of fun. The writing's really good. The stories are fun and exciting, and they really span the gamut from a post-apocalyptic kind of thing to some supernatural strangeness to some, oh my gosh, what the heck was that? So here we go. Smoke touched my nose. A putrid mixture of hot ozone and burning wood. The blunt smell battered my senses, and I nearly stumbled. Pillars of smoke filled the horizon in all directions, but the fire I smelled was too strong to be far away. Buried deep in the smoke was a sharp, sour odor, like a cooking animal, and it made me gag. As if on cue, a massive fire engine roared onto the street, followed by two military trucks. The National Guard had moved in just after daybreak, taking over where our local police had failed. Even the might of the United States military appeared small and meek in the shadow of global terror and destruction. Not even a gentle word from my father's God would soothe the situation, because the world's brain had completely snapped. Who was I kidding? The world was never sane. And if God actually existed, he or she or it had left us long ago. For eons we have been a flock without a shepherd, lost and roaming helplessly through the wilderness. Only a matter of time before something came along to devour us like the livestock we have always been. 3 vehicles raced in my direction, forcing me from the road. Hitting the sidewalk, I took a swift turn onto Concord Street, then immediately regretted it. 100 yards ahead, nearly half a dozen soldiers had gathered a group of civilians. The civilians were on their knees, their hands seemingly bound behind their backs. An ominous energy crackled in the air, and I immediately wanted to be somewhere else. One of the soldiers, most likely the ranking officer, was shouting something. I could see his wide mouth frantically opening and closing. He was clearly giving orders. I didn't need to hear the words to figure it out. Once those commands were dictated, the other soldiers raised their rifles toward the civilians. Luckily, no one seemed to have noticed me, giving me enough time to sidestep into an adjoining alley. I didn't hear the gunshots, but I felt the vibrations in my chest. From the moment the National Guard showed up, everything went from bad to worse. The soldiers were obviously just as scared as everyone else, which made them as dangerous as the loonies that were pillaging and burning. I don't know who those civilians had been, or what atrocities they might have done, but they didn't deserve to be shot in the street like rabid dogs. Society was clearly failing on both ends. I lived in the same town my entire life and knew how to navigate the maze. Left, right, right again. By slipping between a few local businesses, I bypassed the massacre and returned to my original direction. As I made one final left onto Ridge Road, the next song started playing, and it was one of my favorites, March of the Uber Beasts by The Cannibals Are Hungry. The double-pedaled bass drum slammed in rapid succession, boom, 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 and I matched my steps to the rhythm. The tempo was around 250 beats per minute, forcing me to run faster in order to keep up. When I finally made it to the First Church of Christ, a dramatic exhale escaped my lungs. Rushing up the concrete steps, I reluctantly paused at the building's entrance. Before entering the white 2-story House of the Holy, I gave in to my curiosity and raised my eyes. The sun was a golden ring of heat and light, and the heavens were painted the most spectacular shade of blue. There wasn't a single cloud in sight, but the sky wasn't entirely clear. At the center of my vision, like a mass of concentrated evil, was the enormous asteroid that had already destroyed the world. Even during the daytime, the broad indigo tail was bright enough to be viewed with the naked eye. It was actually kind of beautiful, as looming death might sometimes appear. Someone touched my shoulder, startling me from my thoughts. Simultaneously, I tapped my earbuds, silencing them, and turned around. The somber face of my father was inches away, his green eyes glossy from recent tears. Unlike me, my old man wasn't prone to denial or escapism. While I could easily get lost in the mayhem that was metal, he lived solely on solid ground, stuck in the bullshit that was reality. He could handle it, though, because my father was the toughest person that I've ever known. "You're late," he gruffed. "Everyone is waiting." All right, there you go. It's a really fun book, and I hope that you'll check it out on audible.com. All right, thanks so much.